Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Speedrun Insider. My name is CJitsallGewd, and thank you so much for listening. We have another great guest for you this week. I'm going to jump right into it. He's the Wii Motion Wonder, the Mario Party man himself. He who has over 100 world records to his name. My guest this week is Silo Simon. How are you doing, Simon?
I'm doing very well. How are you today, CJ?
Oh, I'm living the dream. One
Good.
70-degree day at a time. A little warm for
Nice.
this time of the year, but we'll take it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It's been warmer lately. Yeah, here in Utah, there's been some winters that straight up, like, a lot of times when I was a kid, winters, every winter it would just come down hard, especially like right as soon as it hit October, it was just inches and inches of snow. And then yeah, like I've had winters like recently where only maybe a day or two or three it snowed the entire winter season, and it's like wow, yeah, times are changing, man.
Oh, that good old global warming for you.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
I'm really excited to have you on. Since I started, there's been like a handful of people that I wanted to talk to. You've been on the list for a long time.
Well, thank you, man.
I'd like to start off this this podcast by actually kind of telling you. I don't think you know this. I don't think I've ever told you this story. How I came to meet you. So when I first started, I wanted to do speedrunning. I wanted to stream. I had done like PUBG was the game, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna play PUBG. I did some like Halo or whatever. Like, I'm not really good at anything, but I was like just trying to get my footing and like trying to honestly. So many people like start speedrunning and they have no presence.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah,
no
I totally
mic
feel
presence. They have no stream presence. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna try and get comfortable being on camera to the point where the camera's not there anymore, and I'm just interacting with people. And so I did that.
I think it's great.
I did that, and I said, okay, my first speedrun. What game do I know so well that I could speedrun it, and I wouldn't have to spend a lot of time like practicing? So that summer, I watched a lot, and I mean like a lot of speedruns, and I really liked Super Mario 64. Like, I really liked that. But I have something that I call stupid fingers, and there's just nothing. That's a Futurama reference for all you watching at home, listening at home. I have very stupid fingers. My fingers don't do anything in the order in which I want them to do it. So I'm like trying to. I can't even long jump in that game. I just ground pound all the time. I just hit my ass on the ground. So, gave up on that. But so I was watching like Clint Stevens, like Punkation, and like Cheese, and then one day none of those guys were online. And I found, I was like, one of my favorite games that I played the most on the N64 was I played Mario Party 3. And so I followed Danimal Sounds because he was doing Super Mario 64 attempts, and he was also about to do an octathlon.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And so
yeah, the octathlons are pretty nuts.
So yeah, we'll talk about the octathlons here in a minute. But then his stream kind of like he stopped doing Mario Party stuff for a little while, and I really got into the Mario Party speedrun. So I was like, I'm gonna do it. So
for sure,
I was like, who can I watch do Mario Party speedrun? Because I had the other games. I had like 2, and the first one, and a few others, but I was like, who can I watch? So I went and watched your story mode. I don't remember what difficulty it was. It was with Luigi, and it was like a little over 5 hours. It might have been just under 5 hours. It was like around the 5-hour mark, which is like
nice.
I don't know.
You might have watched the super hard difficulty run. I haven't PB'd in that in a long time. Mostly because I need to pick up like another N64 controller that isn't shit. That's pretty much the entire reason I haven't played 3 in a long time, is like
Yeah.
My controllers have just been garbage, so yeah, but yeah, that run's been up there for a while. It's probably one of my most popular videos on YouTube. But
So I saw that and I watched that and I got into it, and then I'm not trying to blow you up.
oh, you're good.
So I raided you after one of my very first attempts, but you had left the stream for a minute. So
Oh, nice.
it was like I was there with like my 3 people, and I'm like, all right, streamer's gonna notice me, and you're like, okay, I'm back. All right. And you didn't notice, and I was like, oh no.
Oh, oh, that's sad. I'm sorry, man. Dang.
I hosted. Yeah, no, it's all good, man. So we've since met each other. We've become friends. You were in
Yeah.
SDAT, and
Hmm.
I came along in the midst of your journey. I'm really interested in where, because you speedrun. We're gonna get into this more, but you speedrun a lot of shit. Like, and I'm not talking like,
Hmm.
oh, people doing the let's
Emphasis
play.
on the shit.
Yeah, like some people like, oh, I speedrun 1,000 games, and it's like, no, you just do a let's
Mhm.
play of them all, and then you upload an 8 hour time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
some effort in a lot of these games. You do a lot of effort in these games, and you like, I think you route some of them actually. But I'm really interested,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
where did you start, and then I guess where did the, I don't want to call them shit. Where did the shit game thing come from?
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, definitely to get into all of that. For the first part of the thing you said, where people will do like a lot, they'll like submit let's plays. Basically, they'll just play through a game, maybe even blind or just once. They won't necessarily try to go fast or anything, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe they just don't really know the game very well. And
Yep.
yeah, like I mean, I'll say that I've definitely done a few of those where like I've beaten the game and then I'll just run through it once and then I'm like, this run's kind of like boring. I'm not gonna run it again, but I'll still like submit the time just because I did it. But I do
Mm-hmm.
try to go fast, so that's one thing I've always tried to do for any game I do run is I definitely like try to go fast if I'm gonna bother putting it on YouTube or anything or calling it a speed run at all,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know, like I feel like that's just kind of inherently part of of speed running is just you want to try and go fast and you want to I don't know, like you're just the goal is to go fast, so there's not really any I don't really see any reason to call let's play like a speed run unless you let's played it really fast. There's definitely some let's plays that are pretty fast out there, but yeah. Anyway, so as far as how I got into speedrunning, how I got into playing shit games is kind of coincides with that. I've played a lot of games as a kid, but I mostly only played pretty much just games that were good. Things like like Super Mario 64, a lot of Mario Party games, stuff like Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, a lot of games that were really, really popular for systems like GameCube and 64. So I never really got interested into bad games as a kid, but I was always interested in stuff like glitches and just like went like wacky jank shit you can do in games. Like I was fortunate enough that I did have one of my parents played a lot of video games with me, and one of them was Pokemon Red and Blue. And my dad, I don't know where he figured out the missing no glitch, but he like showed it to us and whatnot, and it was pretty cool being able to do stuff like uh go and capture like over level 100 Pokemon or just go and multiply all your Master Balls or whatever. I don't know. There was always something I really liked about being able to just like break open a game and do stuff that wasn't really intended or causing just really crazy stuff to happen. And that kind of goes hand in hand with speedrunning for sure. But I didn't know what speedrunning was probably until like I don't know 2013. I I'm pretty sure my little brother was watching people do runs of like Zelda runs and stuff, and uh I thought it was kind of interesting at first, and I watched people do Majora's Mask speedruns. I watched ZFG's, I think it was SGDQ 2014. He did a Majora's Mask any percent speedrun. I thought it was really, really cool because not only had I been a really big fan of Majora's Mask as a kid, but like Zelda glitches have been pretty popular on the internet and all over for a while. So seeing all of those put together and used to skip like large portions of the games was pretty cool. Like overall, I just found it really fascinating, and like all the different possibilities you can do, stuff like bomb hovering and the hidden owl glitch and stuff like that. Just there was a lot of really crazy tech that went into Zelda even at the time, and it's only gotten crazier. But I thought that was really cool. I also watched it was pretty much like I mostly started getting into speedruns and actually watching them a lot when I started watching the GDQ marathons on YouTube. They archive them on YouTube, so I watched a bit of those, and I watched. There was also a one-handed speedrun of 16 Star by on Super Mario 64 by I think his name's Peaches underscore. Peaches is a really cool runner. He runs all sorts of stuff, but I thought that was crazy. I thought that was like one of the most insane things I ever saw. Somebody like not only beating the game like really, really fast, but also one-handed and with glitches. It was pretty crazy for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if you want to interject. Sorry, I'm kind of going off here, but
Well, no, you're telling your story. I'm all about it.
hell yeah. Well, yeah. So, there were those two speedruns, and I thought those were pretty cool. I think those were the two that I remember the most from watching SGDQ 2014's YouTube stuff. And then when the next GDQ was coming up, I watched. God, I think I watched probably about all of it. I mean, I watched a lot of it, and it's probably like I haven't even watched a GDQ nearly as much since. But like I was really, really into it. I was into seeing all these different runs with all the different strategies and explanations into how crazy stuff works and how there's all sorts of different ideas and ways people go about getting through a game faster. And a lot of them, you know, include glitches and skips and whatnot. I think that definitely helped get me interested in just being into speedrunning anything, you know, just speedrunning any game because pretty much to me, as long as the game's kind of interesting and fun to speedrun, I don't even really care if it's a bad game or if it's like a good game casually, you know what I mean? Like if the experience, like some games are totally night and day experiences to me for speedrunning some games. Like some
You
of
don't
them
say.
are,
You don't say.
yeah. No, for sure. It's just I find it kind of interesting. Speedrunning adds like a whole new level of replayability to some games that just otherwise wouldn't really be there. Not a lot of people really look at a bad game and are like, I want to play that again, except fast, and I want to be really fast at it or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and not all games are like that. Some games really suck, so they're just not that interesting to play or speedrun. But
We have really set the table here for the audience. Like, okay, but what are we talking about with bad games? So I'm gonna run through some of your greatest hits here.
Okay.
I'm looking at your SRC
Everything.
profile. I have it up.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so first of all, right off the bat, Mario Party 4 Flash game. That's
Okay, yeah.
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that was interesting. I think it was mostly I was just running a bunch of Mario Party stuff, so I saw that on speedrun.com and I just was like, well, it's Mario Party, so I probably should try it. And I had run a couple Flash games already at the time because Flash wasn't totally dead at that point. And it's not totally dead yet, but it's going out the door at the end of the year pretty much.
Yeah.
And and that was kind of cool. Like, there's a lot of really weird stuff on the internet for Flash games, obviously. So,
Yeah.
um,
We talked about it actually in the episode that came out a couple weeks ago, or maybe longer. I can't remember. We said I talked with Tasselfoot, who works for a Flash
mhm.
game website, and he talked about some Flash preservation projects. So if you want to play Flash
Heck yeah,
games, he actually talked and gave a lot of great information on what you could actually look into and where you could find those. So go listen to that episode.
nice, yeah.
I think it's the 4th episode. His name is the guest was Tasselfoot. Great guy, love Tass.
Yeah, I've heard of him. He seems like a cool guy. I've
Yeah.
heard of a couple of things as far as the preservation of Flash games go. I've heard a lot of people tell me that they've done stuff like just download the Flash games anyway.
Hmm.
So I imagine that's one thing that could help with preserving it, just putting it in like a Flash, or sorry, like an online drive, basically, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's also, I think, some other websites or projects. Like, there's this one called Flashpoint. I think that's
Yep.
pretty
Yep. He
popular right
talks
now. I don't know
about
if
that
that's
one.
okay.
Yeah, he talks about
Yeah,
that one. Yeah.
yeah. I've heard about that, and they're. I'm sure they're probably going to archive a lot of the really popular Flash games out there. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
Uh,
hopefully that'll be good.
I
But
want to.
there's definitely all sorts of shit on on Flash games. I've played the most mindless, crazy, weird shit on Flash game websites. So
Nice. I've played some. I've spent a lot of time in Flash on Flash websites too. I'm gonna run through
yeah.
some of these in. I'm really lumping in movie games. Some of these are good. Like Bugs
That's
Life is
cool.
good. The Bugs
Oh
Life
yeah,
game
Bugs
is
Life's a
good.
good game.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Uh.
definitely a very solid game.
Yep. But I didn't. I've played the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game. That's not a good
Mhm.
game. That's not like That's not like Battle for Bikini Bottom. That one's pretty
Not
bad.
quite. Yeah,
Um.
there's a lot of sandwich driving and a lot of slide levels that make it not quite as good in my opinion.
As a kid, I actually soft locked that game, and I didn't
Oh,
understand that
nice.
I soft locked the game. And so I'm like, how do you beat the game? Like, I don't understand what you have to do. And like my save got corrupted, and I was like halfway through it or a quarter of the way through it, and I was like, oh, I'm not finishing. I'm not replaying this game. This is awful.
Right, screw this, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going
Yeah.
home. Ice Age 2: The Meltdown.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. Ice Age 2's it's a weird game. Like that was one game that like after I had run Shrek and like Shrek Extra Large, I was looking for another game to speedrun and get record in, and I was like, I'm gonna get record in this one. And then I ran it like once or twice. And I was like, I don't think so. But overall, Ice Age 2 is an alright game. It has some interesting speed strats,
mm,
and a couple that are pretty hard. Like the new records that people have put out recently for the game have some interesting strats, but it's a pretty basic platformer type game. There's not really a ton to it. There's not like a ton of skips or glitches or anything. So,
you definitely love to defend
yeah.
some of these games. I'll be curious what your defense is for Billy the Wizard Rocket Broomstick Racing.
Oh man, I don't have a defense for that. That game's pretty bad. There's some games where it's like, yeah. So that game's made by a company called Data Design Interactive. Data Design Interactive's probably made like a good 6 or 7 dozen games for the Wii that are just absolutely like bottom of the barrel. I don't know. Like some of them are fine, but they're just really short and they're not very well programmed. A lot of things are just really jank and stuff. I don't know if you've ever heard of Ninja Bread Man, but
I
that's one
have,
game.
yes.
Yeah, that's one game they've made, and they've made all sorts of games. But yeah, they make a lot of really just I don't know, like really bare bones short games. And then whenever you have like AI opponents in those games, no matter what difficulty you're on, half the time they're either like really dumb or really OP. So I don't know. Like I've played a couple of the games and they're just really they're really bad, but Billy the Wizard's pretty special. It's really really weird to control the game cuz you control Billy or any of the wizards you're playing as by using the nunchuck, Like you steer with
Oh,
the nunchuck,
gross.
like you're holding a broomstick, you know, and you
Oh
accelerate with
no.
one of those like C or Z button or something, and then you use the Wiimote as like a wand, and the motion controls are really, really. I mean, in a lot of Wii games, the motion controls are bad, but that one's pretty horrendous. So like a lot of times you'll wave your Wiimote and nothing will happen, and it's
That's me
pretty rough.
normally. That's me normally. Um,
Yeah,
Muppets
it's
Party
rough.
Cruise.
Hmm.
Actually, I watched you play this game on stream, and
Oh yeah.
I know why you played it, right? I get why, because it's the Muppets and it's a party game, but
Yeah, yeah.
that game was ugly as all get out. But I mean, it's
It was a little rough, yeah.
that was pretty rough. Open season. I watched you play that game. Now we're getting
Hmm.
into like I remember watching you play these games.
Oh, nice,
Shark
yeah.
Tale.
Shark Tale was kind of fun. That was one I actually put a little bit of effort into. There's a few games that like I got like really close to the record, or I got close enough that I was like, I could beat that. I could beat that. I mean, I don't necessarily like the game that much, but I could beat that. I could I could I could take that record.
Is that how you felt
So
about Igor?
Igor, so no one else has run Igor, but
That tells you everything you need to know.
right? I mean, so yeah, Igor is a weird ass game. It's definitely not a super great movie game, but like the funny thing about Igor, the time I have right there is actually my Wii completion playthrough. Uh so that was more like a let's play, you could say. But that did have some weird glitches that happened during it that made it pretty fast at the end. Like for some reason there was something that bugged out that made one of my characters just able to just walk through a lot of walls and stuff. So I was able to
Mhm.
skip like a major portion of the end of the game, which was kind of funny, but that's just kind of a side thing. That was like the only reason I put it up there. But
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, how many of these games are you the mod for?
Oh god, I'm like a mod of like 50 games. I think a couple,
Jesus
like
Christ.
probably like 20 or 30 of them nobody's run. That's the thing. Like a lot of I'll still try and run them fast. Like with Igor, I did try to go kind of fast. Like there's movement tech you can do to go faster, but you know, like I'll try and go fast in these games. It's just that a lot of them are crap, so not a lot of people even want to play them ever, let alone
Right.
take the time to speed
Speed
run them
run
or
them.
anything. But some of them can be pretty interesting. Some of them can be kind of fun. So like I like routing a lot. Routing to me is like 80% of the fun of speedrunning some games that haven't been speedrun before.
Right.
Because I don't know, it's just kind of neat figuring out what the fastest way of getting through a game is, whether or not there's like some tech or some crazy glitches or skips. So it's kind of fun finding that stuff for yourself.
Yeah. SpongeBob SquarePants Lights Camera Pants.
Oh yeah, that game's great. That game's like mostly timed mini games, so that's that's like kind of mostly an auto scroller like for 90% of the run. It's
Hmm.
pretty fun. And I ran it on GameCube version, which is slower than Xbox version.
Of
So
course it is.
yeah,
Uh,
so pretty much there's absolutely no way you can get record on GameCube uh, if you include load times.
the Princess and the Frog game. I
That's a good one. That one also is very similar to Lights Camera Pants. That one also is pretty much mostly auto scrollers. That one though, kind of great. So that game, most of the games are timed, but you get a certain amount of money at the end of each game, depending on how well you do.
Mhm.
And since you get less money for doing like the worst, it's faster for you to just get last place. So in a lot of games anyway, so you just throw like every game and just do nothing for like 90% of the run. You just sit there
Uh-huh.
and let the game play because the game still finishes and progresses. There's no losing the game really. A lot of
Right.
Wii games are like that where they'll just not even let you lose because God forbid your 5-year-old playing playing Princess and the Frog loses the game. You know.
Is this Like it's all ridiculous. Everything we're talking about is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Well, so yeah, a lot of them I'll start running just because it's a, it's a memey kind of idea. And some of them again I'll like find speed strats and I'll be like, okay, I'll do this, do another run or two. And some of them like Shrek where they're just like actually really enjoyable. Then sometimes I'll put a lot of time into them, but yeah.
Right. You have found some gems doing this. I'm not done shitting on you yet though.
Oh, you're good, dude. Go ahead.
Elmo's Number Journey.
Dude, that game. Okay, so that game's great. A great speed run. I'm gonna defend that for sure. At least the speed run, not the game itself. The game itself is shit. It takes like probably anyone playing the game maybe like 15 minutes to get through the game blind. So it's a really, really short N64 game, even for a game that's made for basically infants. It's like it's like there's like 6 stages overall, and all of the stages are pretty quick. All you do is just like walk around and click on the numbers that the game tells you to click on, and then there's like a boss fight at the end. You could call it a boss fight. It's not really a boss fight, but you like throw balls at like it's really fucking trippy. You'd have to really see it. I couldn't really explain it, but pretty much it's just like a little couple math questions at the end of each section and whatever. But the speedrun's great because the game has like really bad joystick mapping. So if you didn't know, you can remap your joystick. If you've ever like plugged in your controller and it just starts scrolling by itself, have you ever had that happen before? You know what I'm talking about, where like you plug in your controller, yeah, and it just starts like scrolling up in a menu. So why it does that is because the N64, whenever you turn on the console, if you have your joystick, like it'll check the position of your joystick whenever you turn it on, and it'll set whatever position it's in to 0, 0 on the input that the console's reading. So if you do that, like if you have it held all the way down or something, it will think that holding it all the way down is 0, 0. So whenever you're not holding the joystick, it thinks you're holding the joystick up because your joystick position where it's in when it's kind of convoluted, hard to explain, but like when your joystick isn't like centered correctly, it will think that you're inputting even when you're not, unless you put your joystick back to that position.
Yeah.
In which it thinks it's 0, 0 again. So for Elmo, this is a really fucking long, convoluted explanation for sorry. For Elmo, that game, if you remap the joystick to all the way back, like if you hold it all the way down, the game doesn't have like a speed cap for how, like if you're holding up, if you have more units holding up, like if you have a lot more range to hold up, you just move twice as fast if you hold that direction. So basically you could you sacrifice the ability to be able to go backwards, but you are able to move twice as fast forwards. So you pretty much like have Elmo constantly walking, and then you kind of just steer him along, and you can make him go like twice as fast during that. So it's kind of so pretty much you can just go through the game way faster using that, and it's a lot more challenging in my opinion. Like actually going fast and trying to get a really good time in that game is pretty difficult. It's pretty well optimized. So I don't know. That's my only thing about that. And one thing that's kind of funny about just like a lot of those types of really, really basic games is they end up being like really, really optimized. So getting a really good time in it, like a record time, can be really hard. So it's kind of funny, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the game that's so awful ends up being super well optimized, right? Because it's just like all the times out of it.
Right. And it's like there's not really much you can do with the game because it's just such a basic, it's a kid's game with like really there's almost nothing you can do to speed it up besides that. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, there's no ace in the Elmo games.
Right.
So I'm looking at The Bachelor. You actually, what is this? You speedrun The Bachelor?
I've speedrun The Bachelor, I think, once or so. Yeah, like there's a Bachelor game for the Wii, the Nintendo Wii, and I was just like, well, it's another party game.
It's another
but
game that no one's ever played.
Basically, I mean, there's that, and there's speed strats to it. A lot of games I won't end up running because they just aren't interesting at all, in my opinion, to speedrun. That game, as far as I remember, it's hard to remember because I haven't run it in a long time. But pretty much it was just there was speed strats to the mini games, so I was like, well, I'll run it, whatever.
American Chopper 2 Full Throttle. I'm sorry if I cut you off.
American. Oh no, you're good. You can do that anytime, man. No worries.
Right.
Yeah, American Chopper 2 is, if you guys don't know what American Chopper is, it's that one show with basically they make a bunch of custom bikes and stuff. They make a bunch of fancy custom bikes, and it's a reality show where like it's kind of like a family of like a dad and two brothers and some other people making bikes and working in a shop, and they yell at each other and stuff, and that's pretty much the gist of the show. Is they argue.
I actually live up there. I live by that shop.
Oh, do you? Nice. Yeah, I forget where it is. I think it's in Orange County.
Orange County, New York. Yep.
Oh, okay, really? Is it New York?
It's Orange County Choppers is the name of the store.
Oh, okay.
I had
no idea that it was New York. That's interesting.
I've met Paul, I guess Senior, and then is his son Junior? Is that the deal?
Yeah, Paul.
I'm not
Paul
a big
Senior
fan of the show, but I've
me either.
Every time that I go to the Home Depot, I'm not trying to tell you how to find Paul Jr., but every time that I go to the Home Depot in Orange County, there he is. I'm like, oh, there he is again. And he's actually a really nice guy. He's a really nice guy. Yeah. Junior is, and he'll say hi to you, or he said hi to me multiple times. So,
that's cool.
Shout out to Paul. Yeah. Shout out to great job on the video game. Great game.
Yeah, good games. Yeah, I mean, they got a sequel. I mean, it's a sequel too. I haven't played the first. Yeah, I haven't played the first American Chopper game, but I think it's on like PlayStation or something. But
I would die if there was actually not a first game. They just named the first game American Chopper 2.
Oh. No, dude, that shit happens though, man. There's speaking of Data Design Interactive again, they've made a bunch of racing games, and one of them is called Rig Racer 2. There's no Rig Racer 1 that exists anywhere at all.
It's amazing.
There's no Rig Racer. Yeah, it's great. It's like
we're trying to drum up interest in the Rig Racer franchise.
Yeah, they're like, I mean, it's got to be good. It's a sequel, right? I mean,
they improved on the concepts of the first game.
For real.
Beastly?
Beastly. So Beastly sucks. Beastly's a pretty shit game. It's a really, really weird ass game though.
You originally submitted it to Speed Docs-a-thon.
Yeah, I did for a second, and then I was
you did make me watch that speedrun because you put it in as a submission. So yes, I have watched it.
Nice.
There's a bunch of weird missions where it's like I don't know how to explain that. It's definitely you're explaining something, and it's really resonating me. That part of the Wii shovelware model is that it's unskippable timed mini games that just
a lot of them, yeah.
And that one, isn't there one I remember you had to like take a picture? None of it's in the movie. It's all weird scenes in a club. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, there's I mean, gosh, there's all sorts of stuff. So like the game, the movie itself is like a remake, I guess. It's like somebody's take on Beauty and the Beast. It's supposed to be like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but like with instead of the guy turning into a big wolf-like thing, I don't know what the fuck he is in the movie, but he turns into just some guy with some crazy like face tattoo shit, and he goes like bald and some other stuff. It's kind of nuts, but he just gets cursed by God, what's her name? One of the Olsen twins is in the movie. Mary-Kate Olsen. Mary-Kate Olsen curses him, and she doesn't play Mary-Kate Olsen, but she plays like some witch that goes to their high school. But
so the game Mary-Kate Olsen.
Yeah, Mary-Kate Olsen. Yeah. The game itself is just like you play as just some random character that's not in the movie, just some nameless NPC who just who goes to the school, but you just kind of walk around and talk to the characters as the events of the movie are going on. and you do all of these like side quests that have absolutely nothing to do with the movie. And the mini games are super bizarre. Like there's this one mini game at the very beginning where you are like the main character named Kyle. He's having a big school like rally for them to vote him as, I don't even know what they're voting him as. I guess school president, something like that. And
the king of the school.
yeah, something just stupid, and like, and he's just some rich asshole kid. So yeah, but the mini game itself, you go and you start the game and you need to go and get like a sign with his face on it that everyone in the movie, they have like signs with his face on it that they like hold up in the rally or something like that. And the mini game you play for it at the beginning is just this weird mini game that you need to click on all of the faces that have like so there's some people that are kind of protesting at the rally with they take his face signs, but they scribble all over it with a bunch of like stupid shit like mustaches or other silly crap,
It's
stuff
polarizing.
Yeah, exactly. It's politics, it's there's high schoolers.
School politics. There you go.
But yeah, you pretty much, the whole mini game is just click all of the ones that are all scribbled out, and then the game will end eventually once you click enough of them. And you have to do it within a certain amount of time, or else the game will make you redo it. And there's just a bunch of just weird ass games that are just really trippy things that I've never seen in any other type of game. It's just really, I don't know. They're just really dumb mini games.
Yeah.
But.
Jumping ahead a little bit, Shamu's Deep Sea Adventures.
Yeah, that game, I did eventually take some time to actually learn a little bit about it. But that game, yeah, that game is I think, I don't know if there's any, like, they put a couple other versions of Shamu's Deep Sea Adventures out, but I think that's the only SeaWorld game I've ever seen. Like, they just made a video game for some reason, pretty much to promote.
Shamu put a game out.
Yeah, right. The friggin' Shamu. It's a pretty good game too, because I don't know. I think it's kind of funny that it's about Shamu just going out and doing crazy stuff at sea, and then eventually fighting Poseidon and crazy shit, just stuff you wouldn't expect. But
what, he fights
kind of
Poseidon, the king of the deep?
Yeah, he fights the god Poseidon, and you fucking murder Poseidon. It's pretty great. It's a good end.
Whale?
And then, yeah, I mean, he is a killer whale. Shamu is a killer whale. So
this is vaguely true, but he doesn't. I don't remember in any Greek mythology where a commercialized whale kills the god of the sea.
Right. I think that was definitely like a creative liberty they took for the game. I don't know if Shamu ever did that in real life, but
I don't think so. That's hard to.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, I think some Shamus have killed people, but not any gods of the sea.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a pretty weird game. Pretty much, I don't know, like, there's a couple of games like this where, like, Shark Tale is kind of similar. It's just a sort of a 2D side-scrolling game where you just swim around as a fish and just do shit, like collect stuff and do different missions and whatnot. And for Shamu's Deep Sea Adventures, you're kind of just following along with this fucking there's a dugong that you follow who's kind of the narrator and person who tells you what to do throughout the game. His name's Horatio, and he has like a English accent, and it's fucking hilarious.
That's awful.
It's fucking ridiculous. But you just like you need to every level you need to collect a certain amount of Kraken crystals for like there's these items called Kraken crystals that are just little crystals floating in the water. And some levels you need to collect like fucking 70 or 80 of them before you can finish the level. It just doesn't let you finish the level until you have enough. So, and there's like no explanation as to why you need these, but they do eventually let you unlock combo moves and stuff. You can do straight up like combo fighting moves because you fight a bunch of shit as Shamu. You swim around fighting a bunch of enemies and a couple bosses, and you have a couple of moves that you can do, like a sort of like Mortal Kombat combo moves where you type in a couple buttons and you get a really special move. And there's some pretty OP moves you can get eventually, but the reason why I actually looked into speedrunning it eventually is the first time I played it, I had no idea, but the game never tells you this, but if you press the D-pad up, you can see everywhere that the Kraken crystals are in the map, and like it's really hard to navigate around through the game casually without the map if you just because it's all boring, really same, like all of the environments
just
all just
water.
kind of look the same. Yeah, it's water and like coral and other shit just around you, and it's really easy to get lost and not know where the fuck you're going. So after I learned that, I was like, well, I can definitely take the record in that now that I can look at the map. So there was that.
Wow,
and
there's
then,
a map.
Yep, there's a map. And then I learned that I can actually make use of the combos, because I didn't really learn how to use the combos very well until later. So then I learned how to actually like use the really good combos and stuff, because I think the only reason I learned to do that is I decided to run 100% for the memes, and then
of course,
I was like, well, I can greatly improve any percent if I run it with a lot better fighting and stuff. So someone has actually improved the record in that, though. I'm second place right now, so I'm not even the top person right now. Someone improved on my time, so that's kind of
funny. We also have Mary Kate and Ashley Sweet 16 License to Drive.
Yeah, that game is basically a Mario Party clone, kind of. It's got a Mario Party-esque vibe. Yeah, I don't know if you drive a car, but
I'm there. I'm even when you don't think I'm there. I'm there, buddy. We have a game that's actually really good. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this game, but Pac-Man Fever is actually pretty good. That's a fun game.
Yeah.
That's unironically a fun game.
Fever's fun. No, yeah, Pac-Man Fever is a pretty decent game. It's got a little bit of jank to it, and overall, it's kind of it's not like Mario Party where you can just do super well and then randomly get fucked by some really bad luck, like a chance time or something. It's pretty much you just, if you're really good at the game, you're going to fucking steamroll everyone and everyone else. Like you're going to just
there's no rubber banding. You get a lead, you win the game.
It's pretty ridiculous, but there's all sorts of like Mario Party clones out there, and I kind of enjoy them. But Pac-Man Fever I think Pac-Man Fever is definitely a pretty quality game. I'd play it. I've played it a couple times more since I started playing it like a long time ago. But
yeah, it's a fun game. Yeah. One of my first games for the GameCube, as a matter of fact.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good one for sure. I'd recommend anyone pick it up.
The last one that I want to mention, it wasn't that long ago. It was, I'm not going to say how long because I don't want to date the podcast, but Disney Princess Enchanted Journey.
Nice. Yeah, Disney Princess Enchanted Journey was one of... I do like whenever I'm going through playing a bunch of different Wii games casually, trying to beat them and stuff. I don't know, like I do like to check out the games that are pretty good memes to run, and for Disney Princess Enchanted Journey, the game is so ridiculously like hand-holdy that honestly, like learning how to run the game only took pretty much playing it once and then just knowing, okay, so just go. I know where things are, and that's pretty much all I need to do. All I need to know to run it pretty optimally. It's pretty much just a game where movement itself is all that really matters, and maybe getting some really good luck. But a lot of the game is just running from one place to another and watching cutscenes. I think like out of the 2 hours that it takes to run a game, probably over an hour of that is cutscenes. So you're just sitting there watching cutscenes that you can't skip. But I don't know. It was just one of those that I thought would be kind of fun to run and try and get a. I tried to beat whatever the previous console time was, and I did by like 30 seconds or something. So I was like, cool. Might run that again, maybe. I don't know. It's 2 hours long.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah, it's not too bad though if you want to read chat or whatever. But yeah, go ahead.
It's a good chat read game. So
Yeah.
I want to mention to everybody who just listened to that, that is a selection of the games that he runs. That was a curated list of years and years of speedrunning that I just read off to you. For every game that we read, there's a SpongeBob's Boating Bash, Wreck-It Ralph, Gummy Bear Mini Golf. I'm going off of memory. Like
B movie game, man.
B movie game I think is actually good.
It's not bad.
The Clash of the Ninja.
Yeah, Naruto. Yeah.
So a lot of these games were you started doing them because of the Wii Motion Sickness Project. I think we kind of have talked around it a little bit. I was there when you started that. What year did you start that?
Probably in like 2018. I don't really like. I'm not gonna say that I'm the most dedicated completionist. There's a lot of people like I'm pretty sure, for instance, like the Mexican runner, I think he finished all 700 games on the NES in like, I don't know, 4 years or something. So I'm definitely not really like super hella keeping up the pace, and I'm not sure if I'll ever finish it. But if anybody is curious what it is, I'm trying to beat as many US NTSC disc Wii games as I can, which is still a lot of games. It's a good 1,260 games. If I included every Wii game, like besides the fact that I can't even get like any VC or WiiWare titles legit anymore, like there's also PAL and JP games that would add if I added all of those other games together, it'd probably be over like 2,000 games or something. But I was like, well, I think I'll just stick to, just US games or something for right now. And maybe someday if I ever do finish that in like fucking a decade from now or something, then maybe I'll try and tackle those other games. But yeah, pretty much I've just made it's mostly an excuse that for me to play a bunch of different stuff and actually, I don't know, make my money's worth of the games. And I don't know, some games I'm trying to play because not a lot of people have played through them on YouTube. So it's nice to be like the first person on YouTube posting a video about it or an actual full playthrough. And and other stuff like that. It's fun to just check out new games, and I think it's a fun excuse to do it. So, and yeah, and I also like that the Wii is particularly, even for really good games, a lot of the times it's just really frustrating with bad motion controls and stuff. So that can be kind of fun to try and overtake.
I find it a very interesting project because we had a Wii, and it was basically a Wii Sports machine. That's all we ever used it for.
Yeah.
And I would have used it to play games, but it was so janky. The motion controls made even really good games like Super Mario Galaxy, like, disappointingly bad for me. Like, I was like, I can't control Mario. Everyone raves about that game. It's like, oh my god, Mario's got the tightest controls. And I'm like,
right.
I'm like, I can't even get off the first world. Like, maybe I'm awful. Someone told me recently, it might have been on the podcast, it's like, oh, if you had a ceiling fan, that could have messed with the original Wii motion sensors. Like, because the first batch were so bad. And I was like, yeah, we did have an OG, but I was like, man, that's awful, dude. So, I have such I don't envy you. I would never do what you're doing, but
I understand.
I think it's like, it scratches a really weird itch for me because it's like, I know how awful this machine is. Even when you do everything right, it's like, oh, nah.
Oh, dude,
no.
It's great. No, yeah. I mean, so like some games just have like a weird arbitrary level of challenge just behind the fact that like the Wii ports of the games, whenever you have to use motion controls, sometimes you'll just swing and it just won't do it. It just nothing will happen,
Right.
Or it just won't input the input that you want. Like maybe you swing left and it inputs as like an up swing or something, So there's definitely a lot that it's just kind of just randomly like, oh yep, this I lost all just because I did everything right, but the game was just like no. And it can definitely feel like that. And even games like Wii Sports, it's like they were good, and some games make a lot better use of the motion controls than others. But I don't know if you've ever played like Wii Boxing, like I think mostly it's like the nunchuck. The nunchuck itself just sucks so
Yes.
much for motion controls. It's really bad. So anything that like requires nunchuck use is any motion controls for nunchuck can be really awful. And then yeah, the Wiimote isn't very good at like differentiating between left and right and up and down. So when you swing up or swing down, there's a lot of times where the game will just think you're swinging the other way. And I think that might just have to do with how people, swing the things. They might, have like a little bit of a bounce to their, maybe they'll move their hand up a tiny bit before they swing it down or something. And then the game's like, well, okay, you swung it up a little bit, so up is the input I'm going to put in there, or whatever. So
Yeah,
I find
absolutely.
it can definitely be like really frustrating, like out of nowhere, where I don't know, like maybe especially some games where maybe you need to take a really long time to get to a certain point, and then you just die because motion controls fuck out on you or whatever. But
Mhm.
yeah,
I part of this process that I think is really interesting is that sometimes you find games. I mean, you do play like again. I'm not letting you off the hook. You play some real garbage,
no, I agree.
but sometimes you actually find really good games, and then you
Mhm.
are someone that's able to really develop them and get the most out of them. And I really think that this is most evident in the fact that you got Shrek Extra Large and Jumper Griffin Story into GDQ.
Yeah, that was crazy. I never, definitely never thought I'd ever get a run into GDQ. That was one thing I don't know, ever since I saw GDQ at first, I was always kind of like, I thought it would be kind of neat to get into it. After I did get into GDQ and did my runs, I'm not as eager to try and submit or anything, but
Right.
it was definitely really cool. It was probably one of the coolest things I've ever done in terms of like uh, what I've done with streaming. So I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, like Shrek and Jumper are just both really, really good speed games for different reasons. Shrek is just Shrek Extra Large is like it's kind of like if you imagined they made a Shrek game, but like tried to make it Super Mario 64 almost. Just sort of all sorts of wall kicking platforming and just weird other like quests you have to do throughout each themed world. So I thought it was kind of cool. It's like overall a decent Shrek game and an alright GameCube game. It's really short. So that's like one thing I it's short and the frame rate is garbage, but yeah, like it's just such a good speed game that like even if it wasn't Shrek, like if it was just any other character, it would still be a good speed game just because of how it plays, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There's just all sorts of fancy movement tech you can do, and it just looks really fast. And I think that's mostly what matters for things like for runs that get into GDQ is that it looks like it's fast, even if you haven't played the game. Shrek moves really fast, and like he's booking it, and a lot of this stuff you can kind of just tell that it takes a bit of time to get used to getting good at the physics and whatnot. So I thought Shrek was pretty cool, and the thing about Shrek is like I didn't even route the game at first. When I started running it, it had already been routed by some people, and I eventually did reroute a good bit of it, which was pretty nice because that helped bring the time down pretty significantly, at least like based on whatever the last route was before. Probably at least like 5 or 6 minutes of improvement, which is really nice for a game that was only like half an hour long anyway. but but yeah, there was like for Jumper Griffin's story, I had just found that game and I bought it casually because it was really cheap for a brand new copy. It was like $5 for a brand new copy. So
Okay.
I was like, I mean, it's $5 and it's new. Fuck it, I don't care. So I picked it up, and it's a really shitty game casually. Like, I mean, so the movie itself is, some people are kind of hit or miss about the Jumper movie if you haven't seen it. It's like a movie that was made in 2008, starring Hayden Christensen and Samuel L. Jackson and some other people. So pretty decent, decently well liked actors. Pretty popular people.
Right.
It was like Hayden Christensen was a character who had these superpowers. There were these people called jumpers who had the superpower to be able to like teleport to whatever location they could like see in their head. They would try and think of some location that they've been to or that they can see in a picture or something, and they can just like teleport there. It's kind of weird and convoluted, but there is some explanation in there was like some books that the author of the series wrote that explained it probably a lot better. But anyway, so the game itself uses the teleporting mechanic, and that's kind of unique. I thought that was kind of cool. When I first put in the game, I thought it was really interesting because there's no other game I know of that you can just like teleport around with your character to wherever you can put your cursor. So I thought that was kind of cool. But other than that, that's about where the coolness of the game ends.
Okay.
It's pretty much just really poor graphics. Everyone's all cell shaded, and the storyline isn't very well explained. It's a side story too, so it's not even really following the events of the movie. It's following the events of Griffin, who's like a side character in the movie. And you pretty much in that game you can just easily get your camera out of bounds, and if you do that, you can if you see anywhere else in the level that you would be able to teleport to normally. Like if you see a portion of the level that you sticking out, so imagine you clip your camera out of a wall and then you can see the end of the level. You pretty much just teleport to the end of the level right there, because of I guess they just didn't make any sort of restriction to how far you can teleport or anything. So if you get out of bounds, you can pretty much just skip major portions of the game. There's all sorts of there's all sorts of like crazy skips and weird glitches like stun locks and stuff you can do on bosses that I thought was pretty cool. And the whole run itself, it's pretty fast. It looks pretty fast, and it's just super jank. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. It's kind of a boring game itself, but the speedrun is really, really fun. So it's definitely a great example of a speedrun making a game way, way more enjoyable than it was before.
Yeah. What was that feel? What was that moment for you? Because didn't they like sing Smash Mouth? Didn't they sing the All-Star song before your run?
Yeah, so like a whole freaking crowd of people at 3 a.m. that filled the stream room were singing the All-Star by Smash Mouth, which was pretty. It was loud, and it was pretty. It was pretty great. I was glad that so many people were hyped to be there. It was a really cool run. The Shrek run went really, really great. I had Spike Vegeta and Author Blues on the couch. I tried to pick like 2 of the best commentators I knew of out of anyone that I knew. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
Did they know the game? Like, because this is like
Author
a legendary
Blues had played
run
the game
now.
before. Author Blues had run the game before. Author Blues is another one of those types of people that have just run all sorts of just jank stuff. And I like him because he's not one of those types of people that'll just, run a level of a game or just run a game once and never run it again and be like, cool, I've run a billion different games. He's like put effort into pretty much every game he runs. And he's probably run over like at least over 100 games as well. So Author Blues is a really cool guy, but he put time into Shrek extra large. So I thought it was helpful to have him on the couch because he at least knew how to explain a bit about different levels and stuff. Spike didn't. Right. Spike hasn't played the game or anything. Spike was just there because Spike's awesome.
Spike was there to be Spike, and he did his job admirably.
Yeah, it was a fun time. I thought it was great. Even I think like that clip of people singing Smash Mouth song got out that Smash Mouth retweeted it at some point, and they were like, "What the fuck is this?" It was pretty funny.
I remember I in the I don't know if I want to say this or not. I'm not gonna. So for reasons that I'm not going to go into, I was unable to leave my hotel room at 3 in the morning. And so I did turn it on though, and I did watch your run. I got up to watch it
Oh
specifically
yeah,
because
well, thanks, man.
I wanted to support my friend, and we had met. We had met after that. Actually, we met on the last
Yeah.
night that you were there.
Yeah, we hung out the day before, and we got really sloshed, and then I fucking like I had a flight the next day, dude. I was hungover as shit. It was great.
It was a great night.
Mhm.
That night took a
Yeah.
lot of turns. We had
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
It was awesome, dude. I was like, man, I'm giving Simon some GDQ memories right here. That was
For sure, dude.
I can neither confirm nor deny the state of my sobriety, but it sounds like Simon may have may have been a little hungover afterwards. I can
Oh yeah.
honestly say
No,
in
it
my
was
life
rough.
I've never felt hungover.
Oh no, that's good. No, I mean, I don't usually. That's the thing. I
Well,
don't know
it
why I
was a
did, but I think it might have
particularly
been just because I had to get up at a I had to get up early or whatever. So I don't
yeah.
know.
You did go to bed late. I do remember that.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah.
If we ever do another podcast together, because we should look at wrapping up, but if we ever do another one together,
Uh-huh.
which you are totally welcome back anytime that you want,
Yeah,
we
dude,
could
I'm down.
do hours and hours of your games. We could do hours and hours of, talking about other things. And
I'm down.
yeah, absolutely. And we can tell the story of who we actually met. I
Right.
didn't know them, so I'm not. We're just gonna tease it. I didn't know them before that night, and neither did you.
No, yeah, no, I didn't know him personally, so that was pretty cool. I thought it
And
was
like
awesome.
when I tell you that it was so random that this person showed up at my door, it was like the most unexpected thing that could have happened. So that's the tease for next
That's crazy.
time.
I didn't
Now
even.
we have to
Yeah, I
do
didn't
one.
even know you didn't know him. So.
No,
Yeah.
I did. I didn't. So
That's crazy.
that's our tease. That basically guarantees that he's going to be back on in the future, folks. But I do want to wrap up. Thank you so much for being on. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think that I really wanted to give you a chance to defend yourself on all of your games.
Well, yeah, I won't defend too many of them. I'll say some of them are definitely a mistake, but
And I will say this too, that I want people to watch these speedruns. And I think that for the most part, you're right that the speedrun can kind of make a bad game better. And that you embody this attitude in your runs, and it really does make a difference, and it really does make it enjoyable for the audience. All these runs are fun to watch you to struggle through. I mean, there was one. I don't remember the name of the game. Like I said, we should be wrapping up, but there was one where the gravity in the game was so bad. You were like, I don't know how anyone beats this game casually. It was like some kind of marble maze game.
Oh yeah, I don't know. There's definitely a couple of different things. Like so believe it or not, there's a lot of different games on the Wii that have random marble maze, things where like you have like have you ever seen yeah, because of course a lot of Wii games love just the tilt control stuff. So yeah, there's a lot that are like those sort of like those boards. You just have like a wooden board and maze with a ball in it, and yeah, you just tilt it around and stuff, and like half of those are just really poorly I don't know, they're just like really poorly like the gravity, the way stuff like works in them sometimes can just be really jank and not how you would expect at all, so it can be just really easy to lose them. So yeah, I mean, I can't remember exactly. You might have watched me maybe play like Carnival Games Mini Golf that has a little marble maze thing. And
It had like a monkey ball vibe to it almost, but
oh, okay. No, you were watching the Mythmaker's Orbs of Doom game. That game is
yes.
another Data Design interactive game. Yeah, it's basically a monkey ball ripoff, and yeah, it's pretty bad. To be honest though, I straight up was just dumb and didn't know there was a stop button, so that was my bad. That was kind of my bad. It's still really jank, but yeah, it's not quite as jank as I made it out to be. Because there's some things where I
it's
just
still pretty jank, but
oh yeah. Yeah, there's just some games that I'll get through almost the entire game or get through the whole game and then I'll figure out, oh, I did this stupid thing wrong, so that made it way more difficult than I needed to make it. So that's always kind of funny. But
so if
yeah.
you enjoyed the podcast with Silo Simon, you can follow him on Twitter. He's at Silo Simon1. Don't follow Silo
Yes,
Simon.
no underscore,
It won't be the man.
Right, yeah, there was just some guy like way before I even came up with the name. There was already a Silo Simon on Twitter, and I was just like, wow, well,
Dude,
I'm gonna
it's the
follow
same
him.
way. It's the same way with me, man. There's a CJitsallGewd on Twitch who just has
Wow,
claimed
really?
my tag. Yeah,
Wow.
so I'm CJitsallGewd.
That's more surprising to me. Dang.
You can find him on YouTube. He is Silo_Simon.
Yes.
He has
Same for my Twitch as well.
the same thing for his Twitch as well. Same thing for his Speedrun.com profile, where you can see all the games that we talked about. And there is a playlist of all of the games that you've done for Wii Motion Sickness. And this shouldn't surprise me, but the playlist has 16,000 views.
It has a good amount. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised how many people have watched it. I mean, I'll be honest, I've watched plenty of YouTube playlists that have like hour-long videos, so I can just fall asleep to them or whatever. So I imagine it's probably like half of the people that are doing that, but there's definitely some fun stuff. So there's a couple of videos that a lot of people really liked, like my EA Playground playthrough and my I Spy Spooky Mansion playthrough. There's just for some reason a lot of those videos got a lot of traction, so I think that's just part of it. Just some people are just looking to kind of just experience a little nostalgia in those random games that that weren't very popular or whatever, but they may have played. So I think that's one kind of nice thing about it is like sometimes you get those comments that people are like, man, this game was my childhood. Thanks for posting this on YouTube. This is awesome. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's always awesome. Yeah.
You have a criminally underrated stream. I wish you all the success in the world. It is partially because you stream so many different games. If you were
I mean, it's a lot of different reasons. Yeah.
If you were a monogamous streamer and you just played one game, you'd be partner in like 6 months. I have no doubt.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think honestly, with even when I do stuff like Mario Party, I definitely see a huge bump in viewers because of just usually like some people will follow me specifically for one thing. So yeah, I mean, definitely I'd say that's a good way to go. If like variety streaming, if you're looking to get into streaming, it's a little bit harder to get into doing it and being like really successful. But overall, it's pretty nice because usually you're having people there that are watching because they just enjoy watching you play games. And that can be nice because I get burnt out on games pretty quick. Like if I play the same game a bunch, it can get kind of boring, especially Mario Party. If I'm speedrunning it, dealing with like really bad luck all the time can get kind of just like, it can kind of be like, why am I doing this? I don't know, but
yeah, man. Yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much for being on. Like I said, you are welcome anytime.
Yeah, it was great.
You are come back in the future. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend of the show and a friend of Speed Docs. There's so much more we can talk about, but you're gonna have to wait for the next time. And like I said, I've been CJitsallGewd. This has been the Speedrun Insider. Really excited for next week's episode. Come back, check it out. It's on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. There's a video version on YouTube. If you're in the Discord, you can get a role so you can get added when the new episode goes live, just as it goes live. And you can follow us on Twitter, and the tag is at Speedrun Insider, all one word. So thank you very much to everyone who's been supporting the show. The support's been really great, and I'm excited to let this the podcast grow. I'm excited to grow with everybody. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and have a great rest of your day.